What's going on, people? Okay. I'm going to cut to the chase here, people. Arsenal have just drawn to Newcastle 0-0. I was fuming, people, watching this game. Absolutely fuming. In particularly at the time-wasting antics of Newcastle. And it, for me, guys, was shocking. It was absolutely shocking and totally anti-football, total gamesmanship, and it was just absolutely infuriating to watch from an Arsenal point of view. Whenever there was the slightest contact, the Newcastle players exaggerated beyond belief. They were rolling around. They were nursing hamstring injuries. They were holding their heads. It was all designed to break the rhythm of Arsenal, to make it a really bitty, disjointed kind of rhythm. And for me, it's just completely the antithesis of what I want to see when I'm watching a game of football. It was an absolute joke. And these antics, these tactics were just completely infuriating. They really annoyed me, and they've gotten away with it because they've obviously drawn the game. But I also want to draw attention to a quote from a former Sky Sports presenter, Richard Keys, who now works, I believe, at beIN Sports broadcaster. But he's come out and said, so he's tweeted, seriously, when is someone going to get control of Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager? He's an embarrassment, totally out of control in games. Now, I'm sorry, I completely am against this tweet from Richard Keys. I could not be stronger in my disagreement of this tweet from Richard Keys. So basically, he is taking issue with Arteta for his protestations about a couple of penalties that weren't awarded for Arsenal. And for me, this is a complete decontextualization, a complete sort of attack on Arsenal and an attack on Arteta for something that is widespread throughout football management. You will see any manager, when there's a decision or decisions that go against them, they protest, rightly or wrongly, to the official. Now, there needs to be a conversation, I completely agree, about the conduct of referees and how officials need to be more respected, need to be more protected, and they also need to think of reprimands for managers that overstep the boundaries on that. I completely accept that conversation. But to target Arteta and to single him out as the perpetrator or as the main offender, for me, is completely scandalous. It's a joke. And I have a theory that people are doing this because they have a problem with the fact that it's the Arsenal manager who is the one at the eye of the storm, who is the one being a bit fiery, being a bit cantankerous, a bit confrontational, because they don't like the fact that Arsenal are starting to flex their muscles and show a little bit of fight. Show that they're a little bit more of a confrontational institution who aren't just going to fold like a pack of cards. Everyone used to mock Arsenal for being this team that used to cave under pressure, for being too easily bullied, for being flaky, fragile, all of these words. And the fact that Arsenal are now the ones, in the image of their manager Arteta, who is taking the fight to the opposition, taking the fight to the authorities, not just accepting everything in a really tacit, sort of placid way, taking everything as it comes. No, we're here to fight. We're here to stand our ground. That's what Richard Keys has the problem with, not Arteta's conduct. I can guarantee you that, because we see it all the time. Because Arsenal, as I said, people, there's this stereotype that they're flaky and that they're easily bullied. If that had been the Chelsea manager, for example, Chelsea have this association of being, let's say, winners at all costs. The ends justify the means. Think of Jose Mourinho, the pantomime villain. His conduct was always taken with a grain of salt because it's Jose, because his passion for the game is such that his conduct, when he potentially oversteps the mark by berating officials or running down the touchline or throwing his hands up in the air or having these confrontations with opposing managers, it's all fine because it's Jose, because he's somehow different, because he's representing Chelsea or he's representing a team that are allowed to maybe exercise the dark arts because they're the way that people are willing to accept them or willing to view them. That sort of conduct is in keeping with their identity. So Chelsea have this identity, let's say, of being winners. So therefore a little bit of devilment on the touchline, it's fine because it's all part of the fair game of what makes Chelsea who they are, i.e. a winning team. When it's Arsenal, when it's an Arsenal manager standing his or her ground, people don't like it. And another reason, people, why I'm willing to take the rough with the smooth when it comes to Arteta's conduct, for me, it shouldn't even be a discussion. But for some reason, people are making it a discussion, Arteta's touchline antics. But if you think back to Arsene Wenger, not the previous Arsenal manager, but the most noteworthy manager Arsenal have had in their history. He presided over Arsenal for a couple of decades, and he's renowned as Arsenal's greatest ever manager. He very much had this reserved demeanour, very maybe introspective, more of an introverted type when it came to his expression of emotion. He wouldn't be as outward in that sense. And again, it often became a rod to beat Wenger with, because he became a little bit of a ridiculed person because he was so sunken in his body language. He used to slump. He used to look like a beaten man. He looked dejected. People would laugh at him, and that became the symbol with which Arsenal were spoken about. They became this team that were often laughed at because of the fact that maybe their team and the whole vision of the club became entwined with Wenger's more deflated body language. So the fact that Mikel Arteta is now throwing that notion out of the window, ruffling a few feathers, sometimes getting a little bit confrontational on the touchline. For me, this is a positive development for Arsenal. This is what Arsenal need. They need someone in their corner to really throw down some smoke. And this is what Arteta's doing. He's bringing the fire, and long may it continue. I'm absolutely loving it. And I'm backing Mikel Arteta 1000% on his energy, on his passion, on his support and unconditional backing of his players. This man, for me, he's actually trying to change the perception of Arsenal. He's coming up against a very entrenched media that like to pigeonhole Arsenal, like to put them in a particular box. Arteta's saying, no, we don't accept that box. We don't accept that label that the media is trying to place on us. We're here to win. We're here to do it in the right way. And you know what, people? Arteta had justification for his ire. Newcastle were a disgrace tonight. I'm sorry. They were an absolute disgrace. The conversation needs to be about their conduct on the football pitch, how they were cheating rather than Arteta's reaction. Arteta was just calling a spade, and people seem to want to take issue with Arteta. Let's see how it unravels, people. But Mikel, if you're watching, keep doing your thing. You're doing an absolute madness at Arsenal. You're a legend, brother. I absolutely love you. Keep doing it. Arsenal are in a better place because of you. You're moving mountains at the Emirates, my guy. Keep it coming. All right, people, that's my impassioned message about Mikel Arteta, my impassioned message about Arsenal. We're here to stay, people, and you know what? I still believe we're going to win the league. All right, people, love, peace.